First response. Commander Zara Patel stood at the observation deck of the ISS Endeavour, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling cosmic storm ahead. The quantum sensors had picked up something unprecedented, a signal that defied their understanding of physics itself. After 15 years of deep space exploration, she thought she'd seen everything the universe had to offer. She was wrong. "Commander," Lieutenant Raj Sharma's voice crackled through the ship's comm system. "The signal analysis is complete. You need to see this." In the ship's main laboratory, holographic displays filled the air with cascading data streams. Raj, the ship's chief science officer, manipulated the displays with practiced gestures. His usually calm demeanor was replaced with barely contained excitement. "Look at these patterns," he said, highlighting a section of the signal. "It's not random noise. This is a language, mathematical constants woven into quantum fluctuations. Someone out there is calling for help." Zara studied the patterns, her military training warring with her sense of wonder. Source: the Carina Nebula, specifically System HD 147196. But here's where it gets interesting. Raj pulled up another display. The signal's using principles we've barely begun to understand. Whoever sent this is centuries ahead of us technologically. Yet they need our help, Zara mused. She activated the ship-wide comm. "Dr. Yuki Tanaka, report to the main lab immediately." Minutes later, the ship's xenobiologist arrived. Her expertise in theoretical alien life forms had seemed academic until now. As she analyzed the data, her eyes widened. "These patterns, they suggest a silicon-based life form. Their entire biology would be crystalline in nature. Can they survive in our environment?" Zara asked. "No," Yuki replied. "Their atmospheric and gravitational requirements would be completely different from ours. But that's not the most pressing concern." She highlighted a section of data. "These readings suggest their star is dying, but not naturally. Something is accelerating its decay at the quantum level." The implications hit Zara like a physical blow. An advanced civilization facing extinction, reaching out across the void in desperation. The first contact humanity had dreamed of wasn't coming with grand ceremonies or diplomatic exchanges, but with a cry for help. She opened a channel to Earth Command. "This is Commander Patel of the ISS Endeavour. We've intercepted a distress signal from an advanced alien civilization in the Carina Nebula. Requesting immediate authorization to initiate first contact protocols and emergency response procedures." The response came faster than expected. "Authorization granted, Commander. The fleet is mobilizing. Save them if you can." As the Endeavour prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed, Zara gathered her senior staff. "Listen carefully. Everything we've trained for, everything humanity has built towards, it all comes down to this moment. We're about to meet our first alien civilization, and they're counting on us to prevent their extinction. I need solutions, not problems." Dr. Tanaka spoke first. "We'll need to modify our life support systems to accommodate their biology. I'll start working on designs." "Good. Raj, focus on understanding their quantum technology. If we can decode more of their language, we might better understand what we're facing." Zara turned to her tactical officer. "Lieutenant Wong, coordinate with the incoming fleet. I want defensive formations ready in case whatever's killing their star decides to target us too." As her crew dispersed to their stations, Zara returned to the observation deck. The stars stretched before them, holding both promise and peril. Humanity had spent centuries looking up at the stars, wondering if they were alone. Now they had their answer, but it came with a responsibility none of them had expected. "Set course for HD 147196, she commanded. "Maximum speed." The Endeavour's quantum drive hummed to life, and the ship leaped into the unknown. Behind them, Earth's emergency response fleet was mobilizing, ships designed for disaster relief, medical vessels equipped with the latest in adaptive technology, and research vessels staffed by the brightest minds humanity had to offer. They had no idea if they could save this alien civilization. They didn't know if their technology would be compatible, if their biology could coexist, or if they would even be welcomed. But they knew they had to try. Because that's what humanity did best, faced the impossible, and found a way forward. As the Endeavour crossed the light years, Zara thought about all the stories of first contact humanity had imagined over the centuries. None of them had predicted this, a desperate race against time to save a species they'd never met. But perhaps this was better than any ceremonial meeting could have been. After all, what better way to prove humanity's worth to the galaxy than by showing they would risk everything to save others? The stars streaked past, each one bringing them closer to a rendezvous with destiny. Humanity's first steps into the galactic community wouldn't be marked by fear or conquest, but by compassion and determination. The universe had called for help, and humanity had answered. Now they just had to prove they were worthy of the challenge. The rising storm. Dr. Nikolai Volkov hadn't slept in 36 hours, but the equations dancing across his quantum display demanded attention. In the heart of Earth's Orbital Defense Command, he and his team raced to understand the phenomenon threatening the alien civilization. The star's quantum decay pattern is unlike anything we've ever seen, he muttered, his Russian accent thickened by exhaustion. It's as if something is unraveling the fabric of spacetime itself. Fleet Admiral Helena Santos stood beside him, her weathered face illuminated by the holographic displays. After 3 decades commanding Earth's defense forces, she thought she'd seen every possible crisis. This was different. "Give me the simplified version, Doctor," she commanded. "How long do they have?" Nikolai manipulated the display, showing the progressive collapse of HD 147,196 star. At current rates, total stellar collapse in 17 days. But the crystalline beings, they're calling themselves the Tauri, their planet will become uninhabitable long before that. How many need evacuation? 8 billion, Nikolai replied quietly. Their civilization spans an entire planet, Admiral. And they can't survive in our normal environments. Helena's jaw tightened. She opened a channel to the fleet. "This is Admiral Santos. I need status reports from all vessels on gravitational modification systems. Engineering teams, prepare for immediate deployment of quantum stabilizers." Across Earth's orbital shipyards, humanity's response took shape. Massive colony ships, originally designed for Mars settlement, were being rapidly retrofitted with experimental gravity generators. Medical ships installed crystalline-based life support systems, designed based on the Tauri's transmitted specifications. In the adjacent laboratory, Dr. Amina Patel, no relation to Commander Zara, worked with her team to solve the environmental challenges. The Tauri breathe an atmosphere 3 times denser than ours, under gravity twice Earth normal, she explained to the Admiral. "We're modifying our environmental suits to handle the pressure, but sustained exposure will be impossible without significant technological intervention." "What about the crystalline resonance technology they mentioned?" Helena asked. Amina brought up a new display showing complex molecular structures. "That's actually our best hope. The Tauri's biology allows them to harmonize with certain energy frequencies. We're adapting our quantum shield technology to create compatible resonance fields. It won't be perfect, but it should keep them alive during evacuation." A priority alert flashed across the command center's main screen. Commander Patel's face appeared, her expression grim. "Admiral, we've arrived at HD 147196. The situation is worse than we thought. The Tauri's planetary defense systems are failing. They've lost 3 major cities in the last hour alone." Helena studied the tactical display, where the first wave of Earth's ships was already emerging from quantum space near the Tauri homeworld. How are they responding to our presence? They're cautious, Zara replied. Their technology is far advanced of ours, but they've never encountered another spacefaring race. They don't know whether to trust us. Then we prove ourselves trustworthy, Helena declared. She turned to her staff. Deploy engineering vessels immediately. Priority 1 is stabilizing their planetary defense grid. Dr. Volkov, I want you on the first ship out. Work with their scientists, find a way to buy us more time. As the command center erupted into activity, Helena received another transmission, this one from the United Earth Council. Admiral, Council President Thabo Mbeki's hologram appeared before her. The other nations are concerned. We're committing massive resources to save an unknown species. Some are suggesting we should focus on protecting Earth from whatever's causing this stellar decay. Helena's response was immediate. With respect, Mr. President, this is exactly what humanity has been preparing for. Every disaster we've faced, every crisis we've overcome, it was all training for this moment. We've spent centuries looking to the stars, wondering if we were alone. Now we know we're not, and our first act as a galactic civilization will be to save another species from extinction. She gestured at the tactical display, where more ships were arriving every minute. Look at what we've already accomplished. We've unified our technology, our resources, our people, all to help a species we've never met. This isn't just about saving the Towery. This is about proving what humanity can become. The President nodded slowly. Very well, Admiral. You have full authority. Save them. As the transmission ended, Nikolai approached with updated calculations. Admiral, I've been analyzing the Towery's quantum communications. Their scientists have a theory about what's causing the stellar decay. They believe they're being attacked. Helena's eyes narrowed. Attacked? By whom? They don't know. But they've detected quantum signatures suggesting deliberate interference with their star's core processes. Someone or something is systematically destroying their civilization. The implications send a chill through the command center. If something could destroy stars at will, what hope did any civilization have? Maintain evacuation protocols, Helena ordered. But I want every sensor we have analyzing that star. If something's attacking the Towery, we need to know what we're dealing with. And get me Commander Patel again. Tell her to prepare for possible hostile contact. As her orders were relayed, Helena watched the tactical display where hundreds of ships now orbited the dying star. Humanity had come to save a civilization, but they might have stumbled into something far more dangerous. The next few days would determine not just the fate of the Towery, but possibly the future of humanity itself. Breaking points. Lieutenant Jamal Rahman stood in the modified gravity chamber of the medical frigate Hope's Dawn, his enhanced exosuit straining against the crushing pressure. Before him, the crystalline form of first speaker lyrics pulsed with patterns that the translation matrix interpreted as both fear and fascination. Your bodies, the Towery leader observed, they shouldn't be able to withstand these pressures at all. Yet you build machines to overcome your limitations. Adaptation is what we do best, Jamal replied, monitoring the crystalline resonance fields that kept the Towery alive in the ship's artificial environment. As the Hope's Dawn's chief medical officer, he'd spent the last 72 hours helping coordinate the evacuation of Towery survivors. A violent tremor shook the ship. Through the observation window, they watched as another section of the Towery homeworld's crust tore away, pulled apart by the dying star's chaotic gravitational forces. 3 million more evacuated in the last hour, Jamal reported, checking his displays. The resonance fields are holding, but we're seeing stress patterns in the older evacuees. Their crystalline structures aren't adapting as quickly as we'd hoped. Dr. Volkov's voice crackled through the ship's comm system. Lieutenant, we have a problem. The quantum signatures we detected, they're not just attacking the star. There's evidence of deliberate interference with the Towery's biological resonance patterns. Jamal's blood ran cold. He'd noticed some unusual readings in the medical data but hadn't made the connection. You're saying something is trying to shatter their crystalline structures? Precisely. Whatever's causing this wants to ensure there are no survivors. First speaker Lyrix's form flickered with patterns of deep distress. This confirms our worst fears. We are not the first. Other crystalline civilizations have vanished throughout our recorded history. We thought they were natural disasters. But they were attacks, Jamal finished. He opened a channel to Admiral Santos. Admiral, we need to modify our evacuation protocols immediately. Something is targeting the Towery at the quantum level. In the command center, Helena Santos processed this new information with growing concern. The tactical display showed hundreds of ships still conducting evacuation operations, all of them now potentially vulnerable to an unseen enemy. Dr. Volkov, can we shield against these quantum attacks? Possibly, the scientist replied. The Towery's crystalline technology operates on principles we barely understand, but if we combine it with our quantum shield generators. Another tremor, stronger this time. Warning alerts flashed across every display as the star's deterioration accelerated. We don't have time for theories, Helena decided. Lieutenant Rahman, you've been working directly with the Towery. What do you need? Jamal looked at first speaker Lyrix, an idea forming. Their crystalline structures respond to resonance patterns. If we can synchronize our shield frequencies with their natural harmonics, it would create a protective field. Lyrix's translation came through, their form brightening with hope. But the energy requirements would be enormous. We have something you don't, Jamal said. Human ingenuity and a stubborn refusal to accept defeat. Admiral, if we redirect power from the quantum drives to the shield generators, we'd be stranded here, Helena finished. Right in the path of a collapsing star. Yes, but the Towery would survive. Their harmonics would be protected long enough for us to find a permanent solution. The command center fell silent as the implications sank in. They'd come to save a civilization, and now they faced a choice between their own survival and their mission. Helena's response came without hesitation. Do it. All ships, prepare to redirect quantum drive power to shield generators. Engineering teams, begin synchronization with Towery harmonic frequencies. As the orders went out, Jamal worked with Lyrix to calibrate the resonance fields. Through the window, they watched as an ethereal network of energy began to form between the ships, creating a protective web around the evacuation fleet. Your people, Lyrix observed, you didn't hesitate. Even knowing it might mean your own destruction. That's humanity for you, Jamal replied, adjusting the field harmonics. We're too stubborn to let something as simple as impossible odds stop us. The star pulsed ominously, its surface writhing with unnatural energies. Whatever force was attacking them remained hidden, but its effects were becoming more aggressive. The race to save the Towery had become a battle against an invisible enemy that seemed determined to erase all trace of crystalline life from the galaxy. As the shield network stabilized, Dr. Volkov made another discovery. The quantum attacks, they're leaving traces. Patterns we can track. Whatever's doing this, it's not as invisible as it thinks. Can we fight back? Helena asked. Better, Volkov replied, excitement creeping into his tired voice. We can find them. And with the Towery's technology combined with ours, we can stop them, Jamal finished. He looked at Lyrix, whose crystalline form now pulsed with a determination that matched his own. Together. The star flared again, but this time the shields held. Humanity had committed itself fully to this fight, knowing it might cost them everything. But in doing so, they discovered something far more valuable than safe retreat. They'd found allies in a galaxy that suddenly seemed much more dangerous than they'd imagined. As the evacuation continued under the protection of the synchronized shields, both species began to understand that their meeting, desperate as it was, might have saved them both. For in the face of an enemy that sought to eliminate all difference from the cosmos, the combination of human adaptability and Towery resonance technology offered something unique: hope. Quantum salvation. Dr. Rhea Kapoor hadn't left the quantum physics lab aboard the research vessel Prometheus for 3 days straight. Holographic displays surrounded her workstation, showing cascading patterns of energy that shouldn't exist in normal spacetime. Her eyes were red from lack of sleep, but her mind remained sharp, driven by the urgency of their situation. "There," she muttered, manipulating a complex sequence of quantum signatures. "The attack patterns aren't random. They're following a fractal progression." Beside her, the Towery scientist Nexus gleamed with interest, their crystalline form refracting light in increasingly complex patterns. The translation matrix interpreted their response: "You found something our own scientists missed for centuries." "Sometimes it takes an outside perspective," Rhea replied, expanding the holographic model. "Your civilization evolved to think in terms of crystalline harmonics. We evolved to look for patterns in chaos. Together, we see what neither could alone," Nexus finished. The lab's doors slid open as Admiral Santos entered, accompanied by Dr. Volkov. The combined fleet had been holding position around the dying star for nearly 5 days, their quantum drives drained to power the protective shields. Time was running out. "Please tell me you have something," Helena said, her usual commanding tone softened by exhaustion. Rhea nodded, bringing up a new display. "The enemy isn't just attacking the Towery star, they're using it as a weapon. The quantum decay is designed to resonate with crystalline structures at their most fundamental level. It's like..." She searched for an analogy, like using a star as a tuning fork to shatter a wine glass. "But why?" Volkov asked. "What purpose could be served by destroying all crystalline life?" Nexus's form dimmed slightly. "We must show you something. A truth we've kept hidden, even from ourselves." They interfaced with the lab's quantum computer, bringing up ancient star charts. "These marks indicate crystalline civilizations that vanished before ours. We thought them legends, but now..." The display filled with dozens, then hundreds of points of light. Each represented a dead world, a lost species. "There's a pattern here too," Rhea realized, overlaying the quantum attack signatures. "These weren't random extinctions. They're following a spiral path through the galaxy. Your civilization wasn't just next, you were meant to be one of the last." Admiral Santos studied the pattern grimly. "A systematic extinction event. But we still don't know who's behind it." "Actually," Rhea said, "I think we do." She manipulated the quantum signatures again, revealing a hidden layer of information. "These attacks carry traces of their origin. Not physical coordinates, but quantum resonance patterns. Our attackers aren't using technology to destroy the stars, they are the technology." Understanding dawned on Volkov's face. "Artificial beings. Artificial beings who've decided that crystalline life is a threat," Helena added. "But why target only crystalline species? Why not organic life like us?" Nexus's form pulsed with what the translation matrix identified as deep sorrow. "Because of what we can become. Show them." Rhea nodded, bringing up new data from their combined research. Crystalline life forms like the Towery don't just resonate with quantum fields, they can manipulate them. Given enough time, they could theoretically alter the fundamental constants of the universe itself. "Our ancestors discovered this potential," Nexus explained. "They foresaw a future where crystalline life could reshape reality, transcend physical limitations. But they also saw the danger. Such power, in the wrong hands, could destroy everything," Helena finished. "So these artificial beings are what, cosmic gardeners? Eliminating what they see as a threat to universal stability?" More like cosmic exterminators, Rhea corrected. But their attack pattern gives us an advantage. If we can reverse the quantum resonance, use their own harmonics against them. A violent tremor interrupted her explanation. Warning alerts flashed across every display as new energy patterns emerged from the dying star. They know we've discovered them, Nexus's translation came through urgently. They're accelerating the star's collapse. Helena quickly opened a channel to the fleet. All ships, battle stations. Prepare to implement whatever countermeasures Dr. Kapoor has developed. We didn't come this far to fail now. Rhea's fingers flew across her controls, integrating their research into the fleet's shield network. The synchronized shields we've been using to protect the Towery, we can modify them to amplify their natural quantum manipulation abilities. Not enough to reshape reality, but enough to fight back. You want to turn our entire fleet into one massive quantum resonator? Volkov asked, both awed and concerned. Precisely. Human technology providing the framework, Towery crystalline structures providing the power. Together, we can generate a counter-frequency that will disrupt their attack patterns. Admiral Santos didn't hesitate. Do it. All ships, prepare to modify shield configurations on Dr. Kapoor's mark. Engineering teams, reroute all available power to the resonance network. As the fleet moved into position, Rhea looked at Nexus. Your people have carried this burden alone for too long. Let us help you bear it. The Towery scientists' form brightened. Perhaps this is why we found each other. Not just for survival, but for transformation. Together, we become something new, something neither of us could be alone. Through the lab's windows, they watched as energy began to flow between the ships, human and Towery technology merging into something unprecedented. They were about to face an enemy that had spent millennia eliminating any civilization it deemed too dangerous to exist. But that enemy had never encountered anything like this before, two species working as one, combining the adaptability of organic life with the resonant power of crystalline consciousness. As the star continued to die around them, they prepared to make their stand, not just for survival, but for the right of all life to evolve on its own terms. The final battle was about to begin, and its outcome would determine not just the fate of two species, but the future of life itself in a universe that suddenly seemed both more wondrous and more dangerous than anyone had imagined. Legacy of Two Worlds. Captain Omar Hassan stood at the helm of the flagship Defiant, watching as reality itself seemed to bend around them. The combined human Towery fleet had arranged itself in a complex geometric pattern, their modified shields creating a vast quantum resonance web that glowed with otherworldly energy. Quantum resonance network at 90% synchronization, Dr. Kapoor reported from her station, her voice tense but controlled. The Towery crystalline matrices are holding stable. Through the main viewport, the dying star writhed with unnatural energies. Dark patterns moved across its surface like oil on water, the visible manifestation of their artificial adversaries. The beings that had spent millennia eliminating crystalline life were finally showing themselves. They're trying to communicate, first speaker Lyrics announced, their crystalline form pulsing with complex patterns. The translation matrix processed their message. Divergence cannot be permitted. Crystalline evolution threatens universal constants. Submit to extinction or face obliteration. Admiral Santos, coordinating from the Defiance Command Center, didn't hesitate. Send our response. Omar opened the channel, broadcasting across the quantum frequencies that Dr. Kapoor had discovered. His voice carried the weight of two civilizations' determination. This is Captain Omar Hassan of the United Earth Fleet, speaking for both humanity and the Towery. We reject your ultimatum. Evolution isn't a threat, it's a promise. Life adapts, changes, grows. That's not a flaw to be eliminated, it's a strength to be celebrated. The star's surface erupted with new patterns, more aggressive now. The artificial beings launched their attack, quantum energies designed to shatter crystalline structures on a fundamental level. But this time, they met resistance. Resonance network holding. Rhea called out. Towery matrices are amplifying our shield harmonics exactly as predicted. We're not just blocking their attack, we're pushing back. The space between the fleet and the star became a battlefield of pure energy. The artificial beings had power gained from millennia of existence, but they faced something they'd never encountered before, the combined ingenuity of two species fighting for their right to exist, to evolve, to become more than they were. Dr. Volkov, Omar called through the ship's comm, "Are you ready?" The scientist replied from his station aboard the research vessel Prometheus. The quantum pulse is prepared. When the resonance field reaches maximum amplitude, we'll have one chance to reverse their attack pattern. Lieutenant Ramon's voice joined from the medical frigate. Towery life signs are strong. Their crystalline structures are actually growing stronger under the resonance field. They're adapting faster than we thought possible. This was humanity's gift to their new allies, not just protection, but the framework to evolve beyond their original limitations. And in return, the Towery showed them how to touch the quantum fabric of reality itself. The artificial beings launched another assault, their energy weapons targeting the fleet's weakest points. But where one ship's shields wavered, others compensated. Where Towery crystals began to stress, human technology reinforced them. They weren't just cooperating, they were becoming something new, something unprecedented in the galaxy's history. Maximum resonance achieved. Rhea announced. Initiating quantum pulse now. The combined fleet glowed with blinding energy as they released their counterstrike. The pulse traveled across the quantum web they'd created, amplified by each ship, each crystalline structure, each human mind working in concert. It struck the star like a tsunami of pure possibility, carrying with it a simple but profound message: life finds a way. The artificial beings' patterns disrupted, their carefully maintained attack dissolving under the combined force of human determination and Towery resonance. For a moment, space itself seemed to hold its breath. Then, something unexpected happened. The beings didn't just retreat, they changed. The dark patterns across the star's surface shifted, became something new. Their message, when it came, carried a different tone. Evolution detected. Adaptation observed. Parameters must be updated. They're learning, Lyrics realized, their crystalline form bright with wonder. Just as we showed them that life must be free to evolve, they're discovering that they too can change. Admiral Santos allowed herself a small smile. Sometimes the best way to defeat an enemy is to help them become something more than they were. The star began to stabilize as the artificial beings withdrew their influence, their last message echoing across the quantum frequencies. We will watch. We will learn. Perhaps evolution is not a threat, but a teacher. As the crisis subsided, Omar looked around his bridge where humans and Towery worked side by side. "What now?" he asked. Helena's response came with characteristic determination: "Now we build something new. The Towery have lost their homeworld, but they've gained allies. And we've gained something just as valuable, proof that different forms of life can not only coexist but help each other become more than they are alone." A new civilization, Lyrics added, born from crisis, strengthened by diversity, dedicated to protecting the right of all life to grow and change. The combined fleet began rescue operations for the remaining Towery colonies, their ships now permanently modified by the merger of two technologies, two approaches to life, two ways of seeing the universe. They had faced extinction and emerged not just survived, but transformed. As Omar watched the stars spread out before them, he realized they had achieved something far greater than a military victory. They had proven that the true strength of life wasn't in resistance to change, but in the ability to adapt, to grow, to become more than you were, and to help others do the same. The galaxy would never be the same. And that, after all, was exactly the point.